Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. In our top story tonight, one academic believes any International Monetary Fund program aimed at assisting the country with its financial problems will be just as painful or even more painful than the measures outlined in last month's budget. Dr. Justin Robinson, a dean at the University of the West Indies, shared the view on CBC's Walter 2.0 program while discussing the fund's most recent report on the Barbadian economy. Kareem Smith has that story.
Dean of the University of the West Indies Faculty of Social Sciences, Justin Robinson, believes the IMF's most recent report on the local economy suggests government has finally started to confront the country's financial problems head-on. He says the report indicates recent budget measures could seriously improve public finances, saying it addressed a country in crisis. The country's service-based offerings continue to aid slow improvement. However, with low foreign reserves and banks refusing to lend to government, improving the administration's fortunes remains a challenge. While some economists have pointed to the International Monetary Fund's Structural Adjustment Program as a more suitable alternative, Dr. Robinson says that program would have been equally painful.
And I don't think we should have any delusions. I think the budget package that was passed, the homegrown program, is a very tough package that has a lot of pain. But an IMF program, I think, is going to be probably equally painful, if not more.
More so.
I think the two packages would be about the same size. I think what might differ is the mix of measures.
While an IMF program would have its benefits, the dean says government may be forced to make a number of major cuts to social services. In addition, he believes it would likely require government to significantly cut transfers to the institutions which provide these services.
The really big transfers are the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, University of the West Indies, the support for tourism, because the two tourism companies, sanitation and solid waste management, the BAMC, as well as pensions. There are a lot of unfunded pensions in the public sector.
And they're going to escalate.
And they're escalating. Those are really big areas.
Another area of concern to Dr. Robinson is the report's prediction that inflation would more than double from about 3.2 to 6.7% as a result of the National Social Responsibility Levy. Kareem Smith, CBC News.
Kareem, thanks. In the wake of the recent CADRIS poll results, members of the ruling Democratic Labour Party need to get up and defend the party's performance. That's the view of party stalwart and former Member of Parliament Hamilton Lashley. Speaking last evening during the DLP's St. Michael West Central Branch meeting, he reminded members to persevere.
This is the time every fight on the ground, in the air, on the land, in every housing area across Barbados, in every gap, in every block, to bring the realism that the Democratic Labour Party have fought on behalf of the masses of poor people in this country. You know what has happened? You ever sit down and consider that the Democratic Labour Party has become a victim of its own success?
Mr. Lashley is also confident the current cabinet will be hailed by future Barbadians.
When the truth is told, the truth has to be told about the men that in this current cabinet of the Democratic Labour Party that would have sacrificed enormously and chart a new path of development for this country. You might not see it now, but my children, your children, and their children will most definitely see it.
If employers continue to invest in health and safety measures, absenteeism would be reduced and productivity would be boosted. That's according to Chairman of the National Advisory Committee on Occupational Safety and Health, Peter Earle. He says the results from a 2007 study conducted by a research team from the Department of Management Studies at UWI, the National Productivity Council, and NICE showed that high levels of absenteeism are quite costly.
It revealed that during the 3-month period, July to September 2007, based on the data from the companies that participated, 4,492 employees were absent, and this included certified and uncertified absenteeism, for a total of 10,480 working days, and the estimated cost or the loss to companies during that period was almost $1 million. It was $945,000.
While Barbados does not have many work-related deaths, Mr. Earl says the number of on-the-job accidents and injuries continue to be a concern.
In fact, I just saw some statistics in the first quarter of 2017, and I believe based on those statistics that we have about 1 or 2 injuries a day, and of course these result in absences for more than 3 days.
Barbados has been making progress in becoming one of the more competitive countries in the Caribbean and Latin American region. Minister of Labour, Senator Dr. Esther Bayer-Suku, says the positive developments are highlighted in the 2016 to 2017 Global Competitive Report.
You may be surprised to know that Barbados leads the region, Latin America and the Caribbean, in 3 of these 12 areas, those being infrastructure, labor market efficiency, and technological readiness. The principle of productivity and competitiveness, we talk about it at the national level and its contribution to our national economy, but it is quite relevant for organizations as well. To remain viable, productivity is imperative. There are several factors that impact on achieving high levels of productivity.
The Labour Minister was speaking at the opening of the Occupational Safety and Health Conference at the Accra Beach Hotel. There, she again voiced her concerns about the impact of numerous sickness claims on the National Insurance Scheme.
For the 6-year period from 2009 to 2014, National Insurance had approved sickness claims of 54,400 annually. That's approved claims. An average, that's not the ones that they didn't approve for whatever reason. That is the approved claims. The average was 54,000. Varied, of course, from 51 year to nearly 70,000 another year. But over the 6-year period, an average of 54,000 claims. And an average of $38 million annually coming out of the National Insurance Fund just on sickness benefits.
Coming up after the break, we'll tell you about how Barbados benefits from its relationship with Canada.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153 to sign up to Digicel today.
Yes is a beautiful word. It empowers us. It brings satisfaction. And since you earn up to 3% cash back on everyday purchases with the Scotiabank Gold MasterCard, that's a lot of satisfaction, a lot more often. Plus, you get a welcome bonus from the get-go. Scotiabank Gold MasterCard is the card that keeps on giving, so it's easier for you to create many more precious yes moments. Apply today.
I have diabetes and every decision I make is important. I choose Glucerna to maintain a healthy nutrition. I drink it and recommend it to my patients.
Glucerna with Carb Steady is designed for people with diabetes, helps minimize blood sugar spikes, and it's delicious. Glucerna, your good decision of the day.
Arch your back and work on it. Arch your back, work on it. Pull your ankles, they sit on it. Gal, you fat but you fit. Squat on it. Yes, it's your girl Lady Essence, and I am a finalist for the Bashment Soca competition going down at Kensington Oval, July 7th. So I want everybody come out because I'm ready to take that crown with my fluffy divas. Watch Fatty!
Are you positive? You are negative. HIV free.
Are you positive? You are negative. Get tested and see.
Are you positive? You are negative. Are you okay?
Are you positive? You are negative. Get tested today.
Live Up, the Caribbean Media Alliance, in association with Scotiabank, PANCAP, and local ministries and departments of health, are for the 10th anniversary of Regional Testing Day, providing free HIV testing and counselling. Visit us online at iliveup.info for a schedule and full list of testing sites. Shouldn't you know your status? Live up for those you love, protect, and respect. Come on, get tested.
Are you positive? You are negative. Live up today.
Barbados and other governments in the region are stepping up efforts to make it cheaper and easier for people to travel throughout the region. It is one of the pressing issues on the agenda at the 38th regular meeting of CARICOM heads to be held in Grenada this week. Sean Farrell reports.
A multilateral air services agreement is one proposal that will be put to the heads for approval sometime this week. Secretary General Erwin LaRocque says it will create more opportunities for regional carriers to operate within our airspace.
That will provide more interregional airlift to our community, and as airlines grow and expand, it will also allow for more cargo to the extent that is something we're looking at. Of course, the issue of cost of transportation, air transportation, is one that continues to concern us. It will come up again. The transportation model in our region is unique, short haul, takeoff and landings and the like, but it's something that is of concern, and that will also be looked at. We have, within the context of the Commission on Transportation, our airlines are talking to each other. That will also be discussed. The airlines are looking to see how they can cooperate and collaborate better to allow for, that is the CARICOM airlines, to allow for doing certain things together that could result in economies of scale and purchase of spare parts, etc., for example.
This year is the 10th anniversary of the landmark CARICOM Heads of Government Port of Spain Declaration on Non-Communicable Diseases, or NCDs. The heads are expected to celebrate this achievement, but also to see how far they've reached in dealing with the problem and how far they need to go. CARICOM Secretary General Erwin LaRocque says estimates suggest NCDs are costing some countries in the region 2 to 5% of GDP.
Because if we, you know that our health ministers have been talking about labeling, pointing to the dangers of smoking, public education, and also we have to start looking at what kind of foods and vending machines we make available to our youth in schools. School feeding programs is another way of allowing for that. So there are a number of issues, and we will be having a presentation on it, hopefully there's some measures that we can agree on that member states will adopt collectively at a national level going forward.
The heads will look at major economic issues, including access to financing for development. Discussion on a roadmap towards a common information communication technology policy is also to be continued. Reporting from St. George's, Grenada, I'm Sean Farrell for the CBC News.
Thanks, Sean. Well, Barbados received $70 billion in direct investment from Canada every year. In fact, Canadian High Commissioner to Barbados, Marie Legault, says the island is ranked third in the list of countries which Canada invests in annually. She says Canadian banks in particular have a strong local presence, with some establishing branches here even before they set up in Toronto.
Over the last 50 years, some measures taken by Barbados have created the enabling environment for an international business and financial sector to flourish, as we all know. And similarly, measures taken by Canada have enabled Canadian companies to take full advantage of it to create the current state of sophisticated linkages between our economies. Under those regimes, Canada's banks, insurance, mining, and manufacturing companies have thrived, carrying with them growth at home in Canada and here in Barbados.
The Canadian High Commissioner was speaking during the 150th anniversary celebrations of the Confederation of Canada. She adds that the relationship the two countries share has remained strong despite a failed attempt by Barbados to join the Canadian Federation in 1884.
We can only speculate today what changes in the course of history this would have brought to our economies, our policies, and our peoples. However, even though this formal union never came to fruition, we have been engaged in a liaison, I would say, for many years, as demonstrated by our countries, how our countries have been intertwined on the political, commercial, development, security, and of course, human fronts.
The faith-based community has been putting its money where its mouth is as it plays its part in the fight against HIV and AIDS. The Barbados Evangelical Association, along with the Boy Scouts Association, teamed up with the Live Up campaign to host a health fair over the weekend, offering free HIV, syphilis, and other tests to Barbadians. And if Dr. Nigel Taylor, who heads both the Scouts and Evangelical Associations, has his way, it's something that will be done more often.
We're hoping that this will be a regular feature, maybe an annual one, because on Regional Testing Day, we actually are seeking to have the eradication of AIDS by 2030. And we are actually playing our part because we believe it can be done. Both the faith-based and the Boy Scouts, a youth organization, we are more than pleased to do this because we recognize it is an achievable objective.
Well, the rain did have some impact on the day, but it did not dampen the spirit of Executive Director of the Caribbean Media Alliance, Dr. Alison Leacock. She is happy that several people turned up to be tested at a location that was chosen specifically because of its mass-based appeal.
People could get their tests for HIV, syphilis, blood pressure, their sugar. So it wasn't an opportunity, and it's one that I think we will try to retain to allow more people to come out. We are confident that if the weather cooperates next year, it will be even bigger and better.
Success, willpower, attitude, and goals, or SWAG, have been the driving factors behind the many achievements of Class 4 students at the Charles F. Broome Memorial Primary School. And the students certainly celebrated those achievements during their graduation at the Hilton Hotel. Shania Thomas was named Student of the Year, receiving the Joyce Morris Memorial Award. She also got 2 other awards for having the highest score in the Barbados Secondary School's entrance examination in mathematics and English. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Senator Irene Sandiford Garner, says the school has a tradition of being one of the best performing public schools on the island. Senator Sandiford Garner also warned the 94 graduates about misusing social media.
None of you should ever be seen in any videos or any pictures on social media engaging in acts that will bring shame on you, your family, or your school. Remember who you are. You will not be seen or heard in voice notes with abusive nor offensive language. Remember who you are.
President of the Parent Teacher Association, Parry Marshall, says parents must step up to the plate and be more involved in their children's lives.
We cannot accuse the youth of reckless behavior when we ourselves haven't shown them a better alternative. This morning, I'd like to call your attention for your more serious contemplation, the matter of violence and disregard for law and order in our society. For a child can only repeat what he or she has heard before. He can only mimic what has been exhibited.
In our regional segment, the head of the RSS voices his concerns about human trafficking and the movement of drugs.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability
Diamond Dazzler, the new instant $250,000 scratch game from the Barbados Lottery. Available at select lottery outlets.
The globally harmonized system of classification and labeling of chemicals. GHS. Be careful. Read the label. It's safety awareness for all people. Be careful and read the label. Safety while using chemicals is our goal. Global labeling, communicating safety information to you. So read your label and please be sure before you pour. The globally harmonized system of classification and labeling of chemicals. GHS. Tell a hater.
Tell a hater, shh, you pop down. You ain't got the sense, you stop down. You got a lot of talk and you got a lot of gal, but big man, you pop down. Big man, you done know this boy already pop down, boss. Big everybody that vote for me, a true to the finals. Stiffy, I come in for that crown. Come out and support July 7th, Phenomenal Fridays.
Human trafficking in the Caribbean is on the increase, as well as the movement of drugs. The news was revealed by Executive Director of the Regional Security System, Captain Errington Sherlin. He was speaking after the opening ceremony of the RSS Training Institute Maritime Operations and Planning course this morning. 22 participants, including police officers, members of the Barbados Defence Force, the Coast Guard, as well as correctional officers, will be undertaking the course. This will equip them with the necessary skills to deal with maritime crimes. The European Union will be providing over €1 million to aid the program's finances. Captain Sherlin says there is also an increase in small arms and light weapons.
It is no secret the member states throughout the regional security system are having challenges with gun-related crime. The use of weapons in criminal activities is on the increase, and it is something that we have to develop a collective strategy and national strategies in order to combat that threat.
The RSS is, however, working with the government of St. Vincent to assist in developing a national strategy to handle the increase in criminality.
We have to focus on cooperation, whether it is cooperation at the international level or cooperation at the regional or sub-regional level. We have to cooperate in order to combat that threat. And the ultimate aim of what the RSS is trying to do is to build the capacity within the member states, so when we have to operate as a collective, that we are capable of doing so.
Opposition leader Kamla Persad-Besessar is calling for fresh general elections in Trinidad and Tobago. This after Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley fired his Public Utilities Minister, Marlene MacDonald, less than 72 hours after she was sworn in as a cabinet minister. Mrs. Persad-Besessar says the Prime Minister should understand that the country has lost patience with his incompetence and should now remove himself from office and seek a fresh mandate. The last general election was held in September 2015 when Dr. Rowley led his People's National Movement to a 23-18 victory over the then ruling coalition People's Partnership Administration, headed by Persad-Besessar. CARICOM has not changed its position on Venezuela and will continue with its hands-off stance. This disclosure from Secretary General Ambassador LaRocque. Speaking in Grenada ahead of the start of the 38th Heads of Government Summit, he said currently Venezuela is not listed as a talking point.
The issue of the situation in Venezuela is not inscribed on the agenda. I wish, however, to say to you that there are some basic principles that the community has elaborated, and those principles still hold. All of our member states ascribe to the statement issued by the COFCOR, the Council of Foreign and Community Relations, of non-interference, non-intervention in the internal affairs of the sovereign state of Venezuela. This holds, despite what you may have read about a particular text being considered at the OAS. Those principles hold. I think we have to wait for the outcome of the meeting to see what statements will come out of this meeting on Venezuela, if any.
I'll give you a peek into the world of sports in just a moment, but first, here's a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
Only 9% of asthma patients use their inhalers correctly. Spacing devices ensure that medication is delivered deep into the lungs. This tip is brought to you in association with the Asthma Association of Barbados.